All right, good morning, good morning. Welcome to our next lesson. Today is lesson 1.3. We are going to be working on a couple of things today. So we're going to start with some mental math. Mental math of things is something that you should be able to do in your head without writing it down. So these questions should be relatively easy. Okay, so 12 inches equals how many feet? So think of a ruler. 12 inches equals how many feet? Should be super simple. 1 foot. So use that to help you. If 12 inches equals 1 feet, how many feet is 36 inches? All right, if I do 36 divided by 12, my answer is 3. So 36 inches is 3 feet. And finally, this is tricky. If I am 5 feet tall, how many inches is that? So I'm not dividing this time. I'm going to multiply 5 times 12. So if I do 5 times 12, my answer is going to be 60. So Miss Gilman is about 62 inches because I'm 5'2". Okay. We're going to do a couple more mental math problems. We go through these every single day. 6 inches equals how many feet? Well, 12 inches is 1 foot. How many is 6 inches? 1/2. 1.5 feet equals how many inches? 1.5 feet equals how many inches? The answer is 18 inches. 1 foot is 12 plus 6 more inches, which is 1/2 foot. That's 18 total. And finally, 3.5 feet equals how many inches? So think about it. You know that 3 feet is how many inches? If you said 36, you're right. So now we're going to add 36 plus 6. And your answer should be 42. If you do 36 inches for 3 feet plus 6 inches for 1/2 foot, that equals 42. Awesome. It's going to get trickier. Here you go. Ooh, 8 inches. 8 inches. Here's a hint. It's a fraction. If I take a foot ruler and I break it in thirds, my answer would be 8 inches equals 2/3 of a foot. The way you can figure this out is you can do 8 divided by 12 or 8 over 12, and we can reduce. So this is a harder problem, and that is okay. If you didn't understand that one, we're going to go through that today. 3 inches equals how many feet? Okay, 3, 6, 9, 12. So there are 4 groups of 3 that go into a foot. So 1 out of 4 is what your answer should be, 1/4. And 27 inches. All right, I know that 24 inches is 2 feet. Plus 3 more inches. So use this one to help you. What is your answer? You should have 2 1/4 foot. That is how we do mental math. So we're going to do mental math some days just to get us started out, and I'm going to show you the screen like I did now. Another thing that we're going to do today is we're going to work on a lesson, and I'm going to make this screen a little bit bigger so you can see it. I'm going to stretch it out. I can't do full screen or else you won't be able to see me. So I'm going to do it like this. There we go. So today we're going to work on something that is a little bit of a combination of what we've been doing the last couple of days. We're going to do some conversions. So we're going to change from feet to inches or inches to feet. And then we're also going to do a little bit of measurement and some math that goes along with that. Okay. The first thing that I want you to think about is when we're doing conversions. Remember, the word convert or conversions means to change. It doesn't mean you're changing size. It means that you're changing the name of it. You're renaming it. Just like my last lesson, I am Miss Gilman, but I'm also Mommy. Didn't change my person. I still look the same. I still act the same, right? So think about it that way. When you do a conversion, instead of looking at it as a foot, I'm looking at it in little pieces as inches, right? So that's what we're going to work on. So we're going to start today with our very first lesson. So in your math workbook, you should have this page. It says area of 2 units. It should be page 8. So go ahead and open up to page 8. I'm going to do this along with you, and you're going to kind of follow along. I'm going to write my answers on this, and then we're going to go through it. Okay. So it says Noah has a piece of paper with an area of 1 square foot. So think about 1 square foot. He plans to paint a design on it using smaller squares, each with an area of 1 square inch. Okay. So I need to think, if I'm going to convert from feet to inches, how many smaller squares will I need? So how many inches are in 1 foot? We've done this. There are 12. So what he did is he took his 1 foot piece of paper and he did 12 squares going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then he did 12 squares going across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he kind of made a grid out of his 1 foot piece of paper. Number 1 says, use the picture to find the number of smaller squares with an area of 1 square inch that Noah will use in his design. So using what I just showed you, we have 12 inches going across and 12 inches going down. Now, yesterday I showed you and I told you that in order to find area, we're going to do length times width. So I want you to go ahead and do your length times width. What is 12 times 12? Pause the video now if you need to do the work. If you don't know your math facts that quick, that is okay. Go ahead and pause. Come back when you're done. All right, if you know your math facts or if you worked it out, that's great. If I do 12 times 12, my answer will be 144. Okay, 12 times 12 is 144. Now, could you have counted each and every square? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't think you want to see me sit and count 144 little squares, right? That'd be super boring. So instead, you're just going to multiply. It makes it so much easier. Okay. Part number 2, it says, Noah wants to make a second smaller design with a square in the square with a side of 1/2 foot. Use the picture to find the number of squares with an area of 1 square inch that he will use in that second design. So we're not using the whole picture. We're using 1/2 foot. So what he did is he decided to draw a line right here and split it in half going that way. He also drew a line right here and split it in half going this way. And so he's going to use this little square here. So think about what you know about inches and feet. How many inches are in 1 foot? We already said it's 12. So how many inches are in 1/2 of a foot? I told the teachers yesterday, I feel like Dora. All right, your answer should be 6. There are 6 inches in 1/2 a foot. That means that if I count my squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 going across. Now pay attention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice that I colored this box and shaded it twice because I count it when I go across and when I go up. Okay, so 6 times 6. So if he's just using that tiny little square, how many pieces will he use? What is 6 times 6? 36 square inches. Okay. Now, one of the things with this, again, I could go through and I could count all these little squares. It would take a while, but I could. So if that is something that you think that is easier for you, fine, but be very, very careful because you can have sometimes mistakes. Either you skip a square, especially with a larger number, or you count a square twice, or you just miss one when you're counting. So you have to be very, very cautious if you're going to use that. My suggestion, you know the formula. Just do length times width. It's so much easier. So every time you find area, length times width. That's what you're going to be doing. Okay? Today, I'm going to give you an assignment. I'm going to post this on your page, on the assignment, and it's going to be something that I want you to really think about, and it's going to be part of your assignment for the day. What you have to do is you have to read this, and then you have to answer the question. So it says, Allison and Justin are working together to sew a quilt. A quilt is a blanket. Justin wrote down the length and the width of the quilt, started to sketch a plan for the design of the fabric. He showed Allison, and he says that they will only need 13.5 square feet of fabric. Why might Justin think that they will use 54 square feet of fabric? So Justin says 54 square feet. Allison says 13.5 square feet. So now we need to figure out, why did Justin say what he said? And why did Allison say what she said? Okay, so why do you think Justin might say they used 54 square feet? Do you agree? And why? And the second part is, why do you think Allison says 13.5 square feet? Do you agree? So basically, you have to try to think, what did they do with this problem? You're going to do this on your own. This is going to be something that we also work on the next lesson. So keep that in mind. If you don't understand, that is okay. I'm going to touch a base more on it tomorrow. So just try, okay? And try to get your thinking just to be a little bit different. Okay, see if you can figure out what they mean. So first of all, you know the area is length times width. Keep that in mind. Also, look at the picture. And if I go ahead and draw these lines in, because you're allowed to, that's okay. I'm going to draw them in. Again, they're not perfect. That's the only thing about this, is it doesn't ever really end up perfect. Okay, think about those lines and think about that picture. Now that I drew them in, think, why did he say one thing and why did she say the other, and who do you agree with? Okay, so your job is going to be to try to figure this out. Again, I'm going to touch base on it tomorrow. Okay, now math boxes. You will be working on math boxes today. So on math boxes, it's going to ask you a couple of things. I gave you a hint the other day about this. It says, where in the student reference book do you look to find the definition of area? So think about definition. If I want to find the definition of something, where am I going to look? I gave you a hint on the lesson for 1.1. So if you don't remember, go back and rewatch that little part of that video. I bet you can figure it out. Okay? Number 2, you're going to solve these problems. Before you solve these problems, I'm going to remind you, do parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition, subtraction. Don't forget to do this. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and addition, subtraction. Don't forget to do it in order. So you're going to do those problems. Number 3, it says draw a line. So on the one I gave you, it's going to be a checkbox. So you have to think about, if it's 1 centimeter, where would I go? How many millimeters or how many meters? Where would I need to go? I can tell you right now, 1 centimeter is not the same as 100 centimeters because I didn't change it. I didn't convert it. Okay, so there's a hint. Okay, so do your very, very best with all of these. Just try. It is not for a quiz grade, but it is for a grade. So this is your second grade that you're going to have go in the grade book. And then number 4, it says 2 friends are playing a game. They recorded their scores below, so it tells you their points. So you need to look at the points and figure out who has more. Remember to do order of operations if you have parentheses like this bottom one. And sometimes, like me looking at it, I don't even have to do the math because I see a little trick. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay? And then, yes, you do have to do number 5. Number 5 says, do you have to calculate the scores to find out who had more points? Why or why not? Okay? Do your best on these problems. Have a great day, and I will see you shortly. Bye, guys.